Hi, this is John with Chopwater Carry Wood. This week I want to talk a little bit about another myth. This is something I was talking with a patient about this week, and it occurred to me that one of the myths that you hear really often is time time makes things better. Time cures all wounds. And I wish I could say that was true. I think healing heals all wounds, and time can be a vehicle for that. But if we want to rely simply on essentially forgetting something bad that's happened to us as a stable indicator of whether we've healed or not, I think we find that we're pretty disappointed. So I'll ground this a little bit with a story of my own life. It had been not so long ago. I was on a walk with my father and my younger brother Robert, and we were talking about just kind of dumb stuff that we had done as kids. And the story came up that my brothers and I were playing with one of our neighbors with some dry ice. So dry ice is frozen carbon dioxide. And at room temperature, it goes through a process called sublimation. It goes directly from solid to gas. And if you put it in water, it bubbles away, kind of boils away like a some of these kind of witchy cauldrons you maybe have seen in around Halloween. So we knew that you really shouldn't put it in a closed container because it could explode. But what is a 10-year-old boy going to do but make little improvised bombs with a sealed 20-ounce Sprite bottle or something to that effect. So we broke off little pieces of it and put them down to the top of the bottle, and then screw the cap on with a little bit of water on it and threw it, and after a few moments, it kind of was swelling up and then it exploded. And of course, we were at some distance from it and we thought, okay, how cool is that? So we do it again, and it just wasn't exploding. And so I, not really thinking about it, I suppose, I don't really know what was going through my head at the time, went and picked it up. And I remember holding it in my hands, and it was like stretched tight. And it was kind of cloudy on the inside and maybe kind of almost shaking a little bit. And the next thing I remember is just white, and that pop that had occurred, just all white everywhere. I think I might have even gotten some like frostbite on my hands from how cold it was when it exploded. And my ears were ringing so loudly that I couldn't hear myself screaming as I ran home. And I ran to, screaming for my mother. I'm, a 10-year-old boy. So I'd remembered this, like it wasn't completely gone from my memory. I'd remembered this and told some of my friends. I told my wife this story at some point when we were, dating or in our marriage. But it occurred to me when I recalled this story when I was on this walk with my father and brother that, boy, it had been years since I'd remembered this. And something occurred to me as I was telling this story, or as the story had come back into my memory. We got one of these Instant Pot cooking devices, and I'm terrified of the thing for whatever reason. Sometimes, it'll be cooking and I'll just not even want to be in the same room as it. And so here we go, and it wasn't until having recalled this memory that I realized, like, oh, that might be a reason why. I mean, a pressure cooker is effectively a bomb waiting to go off. It's very unlikely to explode the same way that this bottle had. But this notion that time was going to heal that wound on its own seemed pretty inadequate. Now, what's really interesting is having recalled that story and having applied that recognition to the thought about, oh, why am I so terrified of pressure cookers and things like this? I'm now much less scared of my pressure cooker. So at some level, I suspect when I said, I was being a smart aleck and I said, time doesn't heal wounds, healing heals wounds. There may be some mystery as to what constitutes healing or how we produce healing. But in this particular case, I think the healing came from sharing that fear recognizing the terror of that story, recognizing the terror of the events, having some compassion for myself, but also having a common ground wherein I was able to share that story with friends and family in a way that I knew that I was going to be safe. And I think at some level, this is what, good friendships, fierce friendships, important interpersonal relationships, relationships with significant others, and relationships with a therapist or a counselor of some sort can really achieve for us as human beings, is this ability to actually heal and to work through things when, I'm fairly convinced, had I never really thought about it again, it's very possible that I could be 90 years old and still terrified of my Instant Pot. And what else is there? What are the other associations do we have buried in our minds that we may be able to get through in a way that provides us healing, that allows us to move on with our lives and be free to be the people that we want to be. So hopefully this is helpful, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.